Konnichiwa and welcome back. This is Samurai James. Today I'm going to be showing you how to pack samurai armor into a Yoroi bitsu or armor box. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we start packing things is this is the way that I pack my own armor in here. There are other ways to do it. I don't think there's any official only one way to do it historically. I've never even seen a sequence for how to pack it historically. So this is just my personal opinion on it. First thing we're going to want to do is get everything prepared. My bitsu, as you can see, has a little bit of padding inside, so if you have some padding, towels, anything like that you want to put in place, you want to have that in there to keep the armor from scratching against the side of the box. I believe that proper samurai armor is a work of art, therefore I want to help protect it, so I have the padding inside of the box. So, to get everything in, the first thing I'm going to do is actually pull the pin out of the hinge on the side of the dough for the body armor. If you have armor that ties on both sides, you certainly would not be doing this step, but for mine, we're going to pull the pin out. We're going to set that to the side, and now we can get both pieces separated here. This is going to make it a lot easier to fit inside a little bit later. Now the second thing we want to do to prepare is if you have any decoration on your kabuto here, I'll be pulling off my maedate or wakidate as well. So since mine is taisho class, these are removable. If you have Iron Mountain Armory and it's the gashira class, they are permanently attached, so you won't be able to do that. I'm actually going to be putting the helmet in the box here for sake of this video. However, I'm working on building a kabuto bitsu, which is a box just for carrying the helmet. Alright, now let's start putting things inside. Now normally I would say start with the maedate on the bottom, especially if they are flat. Mine, however, I've actually curved a bit to fit over my thigh better, and since they're not flat, I don't want to put some weight on them. So in my case, I'm going to put them in a little bit later, but if yours lay flat, then go ahead and put those down as the first part. The next step would be taking the two parts of the dough and putting them inside. So I'm going to take care of that right now. I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to drop the back plate in first. That is a little bit of a snug fit in my case, since I have the padding in here. This is 1 inch thick padding all the way around. Yours might slide into place a little bit better if you don't have as much padding, but I prefer the protection of it. So now I've got it in place, and I've just snugged it up against the back. Now we're going to take the front of the dough, and we're actually going to spin it around so it sort of nests inside of the back plate. This is why we took the hinge out earlier. Alright, and I'm just going to slide it back. And what I'm doing now is I'm reaching inside to pull the kusazuri back out of the way. Now from here, I like to work my way up with items that go as flat as possible. So next I've chosen to do my kote. So I'm going to take the sleeves, I simply fold them in half, and then lay them inside on the bottom. Going to do the same thing with the other sleeve. Laces, and that takes care of the kote. Next, I'm going to do my sode. Alright, so now we have the sode. Mine are the O sode style, which are older and larger style. If you have the modern Tosei Gosoku style sode, they'll be a little smaller, a little bit easier to fit, but for mine, I actually collapse them up because I find that they fit better like this. So you can see it folds up nicely. There we go. On to the next piece. Alright, these next two pieces are optional, so you may not have them. I have a pair of wakidate, which are the armpit guards. I lay those on top. And a kikogani obi, which is also optional armor. You may have a kusari obi or may not have anything, but again, since it folds flat, I lay that on top as well. Alright, next up I'm going to do my suneate. So lay one on top and then the other. They'll nest nicely inside of each other. Another optional armor, if you have it, kogake for the feet. So you can see my pair here. I also simply lay those on top. And now we move on to the neck. So for the neck, yet another optional piece of armor, a standalone no dawa. I set that on top. You may have noticed the pattern in this. And lastly, the mempo, which also goes on top, and I fold it up. There we go. As you can see, we're still below the height of the box. So the last two things, in my case, are the maedate, since I left those later on. Yours are probably already packed. And the kabuto. Alright, next up, before I place the kabuto in, I'm going to put in my maedate. You probably already put yours in on the bottom, but in my case, this is the second to last step. Down on the padding here. Alright, almost done. Don't forget the cuirass pin. Sorry, the pin for the dough. And lastly, the kabuto. And mine is a little bit more of a snug fit with these larger wing flaps, the fukigaishi. The smaller style, it fits much easier. Mine will fit, it's just a little bit more tedious, and part of why I want to do a separate helmet box for it. I simply feel better transporting it knowing that it's not really wedged in here. So I'm just going to get it sitting down a little bit like this. And now we're ready to put the lid on. Missed one small thing, we're not ready to put the lid on, the ornaments for the helmet itself. In this particular case, the dragon, I actually lost two of the back feet to it, so that's why I want to make a separate box. They were lost transporting it to a Ren fair, so it's getting its own special box, but I'm just showing it here for sake of example that you can do it. And to wrap up, now the lid. There we go. Now you may have noticed that I didn't pack the collapsible armor stand here. This comes apart into 5 pieces with the 2 legs, the shoulders, and the piece for the nose. Folds down fairly flat. This fits in the box really easily without the padding. However, when I'm packing this to take it somewhere, it's to wear it. I'm never taking it anywhere for display, so I'm simply not packing the stand. If I needed to take it with me somewhere, I would simply tie it up with some odoshi and either set it on top of the box or carry it loose. I don't find that the risk of having the wood inside to bang around into it is really worth it. When you buy the armor new and it gets shipped over, it's bubble wrapped, so that's certainly not anything to worry about for that. However, since I clearly didn't bubble wrap it as I put it back in, I just prefer to simply have the wood separate so that way there's no risk of damage. Alright, so that's how I pack my armor. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. It helps me out. And if you haven't seen, I've set myself up a Patreon page. All that money will go towards supporting the channel, getting better audio equipment, video equipment, perhaps lighting, paying for materials for cutting demonstrations, for reviews when I'm doing weapons. So all of that will go directly back into this channel. As always, appreciate the support and see you in the next video.